My name is Anthony, and we're going to talk to you about the truth about driver technology. Can driver technology really make a difference, or is it all just a hidden scam? I'm here with 6-time world champion and golf's number one club designer, Jack the Hammer Hamm. Most people know you as averaging 400 yards off the tee, the only human being alive to average 400 yards off the tee. And you've been on TV with your driver for 20 plus years. You've been all over the world doing golf exhibitions. You've been in front of crowds of 50 to 100,000 plus people demoing your driver. Kings, queens, golf pros, and well-known celebrities all use your technology. You have 6 world records, including a 473-yard drive. Also, you have a master's degree in engineering, so you have a knack for analyzing and figuring out what really works, specifically in golf. You've been doing all this again for over 20 years. I could go on and on. Your success is unprecedented. But let's talk drivers. How come after all these years of new clubs being put out, the latest bells and whistles that you hear about, nobody has gotten any better off the tee? People still have that dreaded slice and those snap hooks and that lack of distance. Why is that, Jack?
Well, I appreciate your interest there, Anthony, and certainly 400 yards is a long ways. I mean, if you really think about it, that's 4 football fields. So, I think that's something everybody'd like to do. The truth of the matter is that I've been designing clubs for about 20 years. I've had this incredible hammer secret swing that helps me hit it an extra 40, 50 yards farther, and I've got this new driver design today that basically it's called the Hammer X 400 XL that actually obsoletes all other drivers. And, to really take a look at that and kind of what you touched on, there's been this, what I would call almost a driver fraud, okay? I mean, literally, there's been this hidden scam going on for at least the last 20 years. I mean, golfers still basically, 90% of the golfers can't break 100. There hasn't been that many advances in terms of distance, in terms of getting off the tee. I think the average drive is still like 240 yards, something like that. So, why is this? I mean, how come, that these drivers out there, I mean, and quite frankly, consumers think that if you spend $500 for a driver, it's going to make a difference. And they actually believe it. I mean, they go out and spend $500, and they're actually thinking it must work. Okay, but that's not necessarily the truth, because quite frankly, these companies, these traditional companies, are putting nothing into the driver. I mean, they're putting no technology. If you really took a look at it, I mean, if you take a look at a $500 driver that they sell, they have a 30-cent grip on there, and they basically have like a $3 golf shaft. I mean, it's a round shaft that sprays the ball all over the place, left and right. So, I mean, they're in the dark ages in terms of, technology. Nothing's changed other than they spend hundreds of millions of dollars to brainwash these golfers that, they're giving you, a new screw or a new, wrench or something that you need to adjust this thing, to hit you, to help you play better golf. We're talking basically here, Anthony, zero technology. They've completely missed it. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's basically a $500 scam. They've changed the metals a few times. They've gone back to plastic, then metals, okay? But they've really missed, what's important. I mean, and that is, the things that what I try to incorporate in all my designs. I put real technology into my clubs.
From what I remember, I read somewhere that you're actually the first human ever to invent the oversized driver. Is that correct?
Well, I would consider myself probably the leading designer in golf. I invented the first oversized club. 5 years later, they all copied me. I invented the first see-through driver that we're talking about today. You can actually see right through it. I mean, there's no CCs to it. And for the average person, a CC means nothing more than if you poured water into the head, and then you would measure it by how many CCs it holds, and that means there's absolutely zero technology. Okay, I invented the first inverted base design, and I invented the first flat shaft. I mean, a shaft that's actually flat like a sword. So, things that I've come up with actually are things that are going to help the average golfer be a better golfer. I mean, that's really what I try to do, and I'm not, trying to charge them $500 for nothing. I mean, let me put it this way: if I was to go out, and I would never buy one of these traditional drivers, okay? But if I was to go out and buy one of these drivers and go out and test it, I'd lose 50 yards right away over, our new Hammer X driver. So I mean, that's how big a deal it is.
So conventional golf technology is the problem. It's really slowing people down, not only in club head speed, but the metal they use doesn't deflect the ball properly. What's the metal you use in your head, and why does your golf club pick up speed on the downswing? What's the technology? What's the metal ingredients? And I know you call it Zolex. How does that work?
Well, and when you talk about metal, I mean, that's all they've ever actually talked about is metal, okay?
Yeah.
But what you really want, and certainly metal is important, okay? And I use kind of what I call it's a top secret formula, kind of like Coca-Cola. It's called Zolex, okay? And the idea behind it is, the harder the face, the more deflection you get, the farther the ball goes. I mean, it's that simple. It's like taking a golf ball and dropping it on concrete or dropping it on carpet. Which one deflects more? The one on concrete. So if you can make the face harder, you're going to get more distance and you're going to get more deflection. So I mean, that's just one aspect of design. These traditional club makers talked about core rating for 3, 4, 5 years, which it was just a bunch of baloney. It was complete farce. I mean, there was no such thing to core rated clubs. The core has absolutely no bearing to getting more distance. If you think that the core rated design of a driver, you might as well buy swampland in Florida, because it absolutely was just a complete fraud in terms of golf technology.
Well, before we got on the line here, I actually took your driver and I held it in my hand and I dropped a golf ball on it just to actually do that test, because I know you mentioned that to me, and it bounced really high, and I'm like, all right, this is crazy. And I grabbed the other old driver I had, the typical one I paid $600 for. I dropped the golf ball on it right before my eyes, holding it in my hand, and it was like a thud. It didn't really bounce. It bounced maybe an inch. Yours bounced over a foot when I dropped it. So that's no wonder.
That's truly what you're talking about, Anthony, is deflection, okay?
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that. If take a look at our new design, okay?
Yeah.
This new design is the first see-through driver.
Right.
So like I said, there's no CCs. You can see right through it. What's cool about this is that you put all the mass right behind the face, okay? And I came up with this term that I call the power core, okay? And the more mass you put behind the face, you're going to also increase your deflection. So if you have a harder metal and you have this, what I call the power core, where all the mass is right behind the face, you're going to have this incredible deflection rate where the club is going to come off the club face like a shot out of a gun, okay? I mean, it's just incredible.
Well, and it sounds like a fighter jet. When I swing this club, it's a big swoosh, like a big, you know what I'm talking about. It just feels faster and more powerful in my hands. And I notice when I swing it tracks itself. I'm thinking, would it be because of the flat shaft that it just seems to track perfectly into the ball?
Well, you hit on a couple things. I mean, first off, the way that it's shaped, okay, first is that the face itself is inverted. And when I say it's inverted, every golf club out there but my design has a flat top on it and round on the bottom, okay?
Yeah.
What I've done is flip that over, so now the driver face is round on top and flat on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I've done is there's nothing behind that face but air. So that's what's called, in a technical term, push acceleration, where this is the only face design that actually picks up speed all by itself because of the shape, okay? So, there's nothing behind it but air. So it's not like when you're swinging one of these traditional heads where it's a big blob, 460, big blob of, it's solid, and it's like swinging a truck through the air. I mean, it's the same idea as these guys that are racing, sports cars or, auto racing. You're trying to make it aerodynamic. And so the thing that you touched on, this new Hammer X driver, actually is aerodynamic. It actually has what I call built-in speed, all right, and then it actually is designed like a wing. It's got the same kind of design as like a wing on a jet, Okay, and that's what you call the glide effect. Okay,
Right.
this thing actually picks up speed all by itself. So, it's really cool because the average guy, the senior, the women, the average golfer can all of a sudden pick up an extra 20 miles an hour club head speed just because of the face design. So, that's the harder face, and then the shape, and then you got the power core right behind it, so you got everything working for you. You got the mass, you got the speed, faster, you got the aerodynamics. The club head speed is built right into the club. So, that's the actual, technical advantages of the head itself. A traditional head has none of this. To be honest with you, Anthony,
Yeah.
all the traditional heads are obsolete. Every solid head that's out there is obsolete. They're obsolete. They're just old technology. They're obsolete. They're zero technology, okay? And the other thing that you hit on was, and we haven't talked about it at all, but this new Hammer X driver, okay, incorporates probably the greatest breakthrough in golf ever, all right? We're talking about a flat shaft, okay? It's called the Flat X shaft, and the shaft is literally flat, okay? And, think about how much sense this makes, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
The shaft is flat, so there's your aerodynamic effect. It cuts through the air like a sword. It cuts through the air like a knife, okay? Secondly, okay, and this is something that why these traditional, clubs that have these $3 junk shafts in them, and they all have this $3 shaft in them,
Mm-hmm.
and you spend $500 for it, is that they twist and they spray all over the place. This flat shaft has what I call zero torque. It doesn't twist left. It doesn't twist right. So you're going to hit the ball dead straight. It will cure everybody's slice because of the way the shaft is. The shaft is actually flat, okay?
Yeah.
So there's no give to it torsional, yet it's like a slingshot when it launches the ball. It's got flex properties that just absolutely kick in and just launch the ball. So, and the third thing that this flat shaft does, Anthony, which, to be honest with you, when I designed it, I didn't even think of it at the time, and then it came when I noticed it when I was swinging it.
Mm-hmm.
It literally tracks itself right into the ball. You can close your eyes with this thing and hit the ball. It's that amazing. You can literally close your eyes with this shaft and hit the ball. How many shafts can you do that with? With these other shafts, you close your eyes, you'll completely miss the ball. So, there's no technology to these round shafts. And quite frankly, one more thing, when you see these pros playing all these, traditional clubs and they're being paid millions and millions of dollars to play these clubs, they're not using the club that you'd be buying for $500, okay? They're using a club that has a steel shaft in it because they're trying to, use a shaft that, steel does have good torque properties and it enables them to hit it straighter. And the only graphite shaft out there that has these torque properties like steel is the new Flat X shaft.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to ask you. Is that the reason why the pros use these big brands? Because they pay them a hefty amount to use them? I know it must be millions that they have to pay them in order to use their drivers. What do you say about that? Is that why the pros use what they use?
They pay these guys $10 million to say that they use these designs, and they're not really using them. They're not using the same club that the golfer would buy for $500. Okay, and most of them, when you look at them, they're using metal shafts. Okay, they don't even have a graphite shaft in them because there's not a graphite shaft out there that works. All right, there's not a graphite shaft out there that's made, that works. These companies spend literally hundreds of millions of dollars to brainwash these golfers. Okay, that what you're buying is going to work for you.
Right.
And it's sad because nobody gets better, nobody actually gets any yardage, and it's a sad thing that they've done. But they had this scam going for a long time. It's called it's almost driver fraud. Okay, these guys are misleading the public.
Yeah.
They're building, putting a new screw in here, two new screws or a compass or whatever, and you got to carry a wrench or a screwdriver in your pocket to make adjustments, on the tee. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And I'm gonna tell you one more exciting, and to me, exciting technology advantage to our new driver.
What? Okay.
The inverted face. okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this is really important. Because the face is inverted, okay, it means that it's twice the sweet spot, which for the average guy, that's pretty cool. You get twice the sweet spot, all right? But what's really cool about it is, and this is something that nobody really talks about, but it's called the launch angle. Okay, now remember, I'm an engineer, all right? And what you want is the optimum launch angle, all right? Remember, keep this fact in line. For every second the ball's in the air, the ball's traveling 40 yards. Okay?
Right.
So if you can keep the ball airborne for an additional, second, you get 40 more yards. And here's the cool thing about this. Our driver is the only driver that has a tee line. You're going to tee the ball totally above the face, okay? And it launches the ball like 3 degrees higher than normal, which is going to give you the ultimate optimum launching angle, which parlays into more roll, okay? Right. So if you launch, and that's why you want the optimum launch angle. The more you launch this thing, the more roll you're going to get. I mean, we did test studies with this against all the leading drivers, okay? Our driver outperformed these clubs by 25% on average carry distance, and about 40 to 50 yards on total distance. There was no comparison. I mean, absolutely no comparison. And the reason being is because our Hammer X 400 XL driver has real technology. I mean, this isn't, fluff. This isn't made up, scam, another metal, another piece of plastic, another two screws to it. We're going to move the center of gravity again and alter this and that. It's none of that, okay? If you really study this thing, okay, this is, it makes sense. It's real. This is, real shaft design. It's flat, goes faster through the air. It's got the inverted face, the bigger sweet spot. It's got a harder face, more deflection. It's shaped like a wing, okay, aerodynamically. So it's just like you're flying a jet through the air. And the average guy is going to experience, 20% more club head speed. I mean, that's exciting. I mean, for me, let me put it this way to you. The first time I tested this thing, Anthony,
yeah,
I'm on a golf course, and the green is about 350 yards, okay?
Yeah.
So the first ball I hit with my normal driver, one of my other designs. I've had like 15 different designs, okay?
Yeah.
I drive it onto the green, okay? All right. I pull out my new prototype, inverted face, Hammer X with this new sweet spot and all this, and this new shaft. Now this is no baloney. This is complete, unbelievable truth. I fly the green by over 100 yards, okay? I literally have to chip back 100 yards, okay, with this drive, getting back to the green. I hit the ball 458 yards, okay, with this new design, this prototype. I was literally stunned. I was literally shaking. I mean, and you know what? For the average guy, the guy that's hitting at 240, he's going to be a 300-yard hitter now. We're going to have guys that actually hit the ball 400 yards. I mean, I know that yourself, when you had contacted me, you're a big hitter anyway. But,
yeah.
I know that, the average guy's going to pick up 40 to 50 yards because it's built right into the club.
Well, I can attest to that. I have a friend I golf with all the time. His name's Sammy. And Sammy and I go out 2-3 times a week, and he's seen my new driver, and he's seen me hitting it, 100 yards past him. He goes, it's about time I get one of these drivers. So, first he wanted to test it, so he asked me if he could hit a couple with it first. So we get to the next hole. We're on the second hole. He asked me to do this. He goes, I'm going to finally just hit this driver and see if it does anything. So he tees up. They're about 310 yards, 320 yards, the next foursome in front of us, up there on in the rough. I'm not going to say the fairway because most people are in the rough. So they're up there, and he's like, I'm like, are you going to wait or are you going to hit? He goes, I'm going to hit. It's 320 yards up there. I'm not going to hit them. I can't even hit it, 270 at my best. So I'm all right. Just remember to tee it high. Line it with the goal line on the driver, and tee it a little higher. And he said, all right. He did just that. He steps up to the ball, lines it up. I'm like, aim right in the middle of the fairway, and that's where it goes with this thing. And he goes, all right. He's aimed right in the middle of the fairway. At this point, they're just getting in the carts of people in front of them, and they're right there in the fairway. He hits the ball, and it's up in the air. It's going. It's going. He goes, oh crap! I think I'm gonna hit these people. If it lands and it's 10 yards in front of them, 20 yards and 10 to 20 yards in front of them, he hit it about 310 yards. He's never hit it that far in his life. He misjudged it. He hit it so far that he almost hit the people in front of him. And ever since that, he goes, "Can I use this thing the rest of the round?" I'm shocked. And when we got home, he ordered his Hammer 400 XL. And I mean, I see that all the time. I got all my friends and my family use this driver. Jack, let me ask you: is this for everybody? Is this for men and women, or can everybody use this driver?
Well, I tell you what, everybody, because of the technology of this driver, women are going to see 40 to 50 yards. Seniors are going to see 40 to 50 yards. It's lighter, it's faster, it's got, all the bells and whistles, the aerodynamics of this thing. It's got everything going for it, in terms of, what it's going to do. It's totally going to give everybody that advantage they've been looking for. And you know what? It's a great value. We're not out there trying to, charge people $500 for something that doesn't work. We're out there, trying to get this out to people and helping them with their golf game, lowering their scores, and that's really what this is all about. And I mean, I've had so many people call me, and I can't tell you, over and over and over, countless people. I got 30 yards. Oh my gosh, you changed my life with this driver. I mean, this thing is the most exciting thing ever. I'm telling everybody how great this thing is. It's just been one after another. And, for me, that's very rewarding because that's what I do, Anthony. My swing, my technique. I love helping people. I love giving them tips, in terms of being a better golfer. And with the driver technology, I love, that's the most rewarding thing is hearing how great this design is and, truly trying to help everybody enjoy their golf game a little bit better and make it easy. I mean, what you really want is you want to make the driving game as easy as hitting a 9-iron. And that's what we did.
Right.
Easy to hit. We're going to have a lot of people yards. We're going to have a lot of people hitting 400 yards. And that's why my website, hitit400.com, is exciting for me because that's my goal is to make everybody hit the ball a lot farther.
And Jack, how many people use this driver? I know there's thousands of them that I'm aware of, but how many people have this driver in their bag?
Well, it's a brand new design. It's been out there about 6 months, but we've got thousands and thousands of people thrilled to death with this new design, and we just when you pull this thing out and you're playing in a foursome, and people see it and they're like, oh my gosh, see-through head.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, wow, I mean, look at this flat shaft. There's never been anything like this, okay, ever, okay? So, I mean, it totally looks different, and, let's be honest about this. If the leading companies that are out there had this kind of technology, they would charge you $1,000 for this driver.
Right.
But they don't. I have the patents on the see-through head. I have the patents on the flat shaft, okay, and the inverted face. So it can't be duplicated. What we want to do is help everybody. And, one of the great things about golf, people tell other people about how great the products are. And, we like to share that. And, we want to get the message out there to everybody. And we even have this design now in hybrids, okay? I mean, I have see-through hybrids, okay? And we even have irons with flat shafts, okay? So, it's a great technology. And, someday, I mean, what you've seen in golf heads, a regular traditional head, quite frankly, is obsolete, okay? A round shaft is obsolete, okay? So, I mean, that's, that's how incredible this new design is. And, I've been doing this for 20 years, and this is my most exciting design ever.
Well, Jack, I know you get a lot of calls. I know you see a lot of people that use this. What kind of results or success stories, amazing success stories, have you seen of the man or woman who called in or who have told you stopped you on the side of the road and told you Do you have any good success stories that you'd like to share?
Well, I mean, one of the ones that stood out to me the most was this gal that called me up, and she said she was 78 years old. She lived in Palm Springs, and she said, "Jack, I have three things to tell you. Number one, because I hit this thing today, and I wasn't expecting, I didn't pay that much for it. I wasn't expecting these kind of results. Okay, but number one, I'm hitting the ball farther than when I was 50 years old. Remember, this gal was 78. She goes, I'm 40 yards longer than I've been in 30 years, okay? Secondly, she said, I am going to tell everybody about this golf club. I mean, this thing is so amazing. And the shaft is just, I just want to tell everybody about how incredible this thing is. So I'm in it dead straight. Just totally amazing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I know my friends and family, this is the only driver I can recommend, and I mean, they tell everybody, because even when you look at this, when you take this out and you're playing with a couple new people on the tee or in part of your new foursome, they look at it and they go, what is what is that? I want one just by looking at it. It's just it's radical. But anything else?
It certainly gets everybody's attention.
Right.
And I'll tell you one last little quick story here, Anthony, about myself.
Okay.
Okay. About the new Hammer X 400 XL driver.
Okay.
All right. I'm playing with a Japanese client, Japanese customer. All right.
Yeah.
I'm having some trouble because I've never been a very good putter. And this particular day, I take the Hammer X driver out. I drive 8 par 4 holes. Okay. I have 43 putts.
Right.
I shoot a 72. I had 29 golf shots. Okay. Total with this driver. Okay. The Japanese customer says to me, "Oh, he goes, Hammer." He goes, "You need to work on your putting." Okay. And he's not kidding, because I came up with a great putter. Finally now too, I've invented a new putter, called the Hammer putter, that actually is the first putter with a sweet spot. So, it kind of finally not only can everybody hit the ball a lot longer, but now people can actually stop 3-putting. So, this driver is for everybody. And one more thing that we didn't talk about, but it's kind of interesting, Anthony.
Yeah.
Is the shaft. Okay.
Right.
It's the smart shaft, okay?
Right.
And you might ask me, well, what's the smart shaft, okay?
Yeah.
Well, they talk about in shaft design, they talk, I need a senior flex, ladies flex, I need a medium flex. Well, guess what? This particular brand new, flat X shaft is called the smart shaft, all right? One shaft fits everybody, all right? It actually kicks and loads itself according to how fast you're swinging. So it senses how fast and what kind of load you're putting on the shaft, okay, and actually will kick low, medium, or high based on your club head speed. So somebody like yourself or myself that hits the ball a long ways, it will kick high, all right? Somebody, a senior or a lady, will kick low, all right? It actually will adjust itself according to how fast you're swinging. So it's, again, additional amazing technology, and it's built right into the shaft. So you don't have to specify, anymore, what flex you need. And, when you question me or ask me about golfers and how many we've sold and whatnot, what's really cool about this, we've sold thousands of these things, and I never heard anybody ask me a question about having the wrong flex. Okay,
right.
Which is really cool. So, that tells me that, it's working, as it sounds. It's the smart shaft, and it works for everybody.
Well, that's what I know. My biggest thing when I called you and ordered my Hammer 400 XL, first thing I asked you was, Jack, I just had my flex tested at an expensive launch monitor and video, and they said I needed a certain double X shaft. I said, can you put one of those on for me? He goes, no, with ours, it's a smart shaft. It actually kicks. He goes, I use this shaft for the 162 mile per hour swing speed, and the person with a 60 mile per hour swing speed uses the exact same shaft because the way it flexes, similar to a metal shaft and an iron, right? It picks
Right.
up on your swing speed. So I'm like, okay, well I just wasted thousands of dollars getting my flex tested on a video monitor, and I get this, and it takes care of that for me, and I found that really amazing.
Well, it makes it real simple. So, all you really got to do is, tee the driver up really high, follow tee instructions. It's the only driver with a tee line. You tee it up really high.
Yeah.
The launch angle is built right into the club. Okay, the power is built into the club with a power core. The flat shaft is going to, cure everybody's slice. You can't slice with a flat shaft, okay, because it doesn't twist, okay?
Right.
And the bottom line is it's got built-in club head speed, 20% faster. So, it's that simple. You just got to tee it up really high and, let her fly. I mean, and that's all you got to do, and you're on your way to 300 to 400 yards. That's what this is all about. It's real technology. This isn't, more fluff, another screw, another wrench needed. This is the real deal. This is real technology, and what I'd ask is you get one and get yourself an extra 40, 50 yards, and tell your friends about it, okay? Because that's the coolest thing, unless you don't want to tell them, because you want to hit it farther than them. But it's the real technology, and it works. That's the coolest thing.
Right, and if you're listening right now and you slice the ball, or if you hook the ball, and if you can't hit it long and as long as you want it to, if you slice it every time, I mean, if you duff the ball, hit it fat, anything like that, and you just don't feel confident with your golf game after years of these faulty club designs, if you want to hit it dead straight every time, robotic accuracy, and add an easy 30 to 50 yards to all your shots, I mean, this is the missing element. This is what you need in a driver, and it makes golf easy. And what you got to do is you got to go to the website, www.hitit400.com right now. Again, hitit400.com. Again, I've used this. My friends have used it. I highly recommend that you go to the website right now, hitit400.com, to order this new Hammer 400 XL. Thank you, Jack, and it's always a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate your interest, Anthony, and again, we sincerely want to help every golfer, hit it a lot longer, a lot farther, and make the game a lot easier. And, that will happen for you at hitit400.com. The Hammer X 400 XL is the greatest technology. It's the best technology ever in golf. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Jack.